Okay, cool. We are live. Welcome, everyone. So, what we're going to be doing today is talking about the fact that motivation follows action. So, what this lesson is how motivation works and how we can use it. And this is part of the bigger mindset course that I'm developing for coders. So, just getting in the right headspace for coding and stuff like that. Okay, let's move on. Let's get on with it. First slide, here we go. So the core idea, I always love giving you the core ideas of stuff like straight off the bat. So motivation follows action and not the other way around, right? So let me say that again. Motivation follows action, meaning you have to do some action first and then you will get motivated. So stop waiting around to feel motivated and start acting so you can become motivated. So that is the core idea of the slides. That's just the core idea of the presentation. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so the backward truth. What we think happens, right? What we are thought to believe, or what maybe we conclude falsely, is that it goes motivation, action, then result. But in reality, it's more like action. You do some action, and then after that is the motivation, and then because you're motivated, you do more action, and then you get the results, right? So there's an extra step called more action, essentially. And so here, little summary is that you don't need to feel ready to do something, more that you just need to start, and then you will start feeling ready to do something. Okay, cool. So as always, I always give away the 3 takeaways. So remember this sequence, right? It's going to be action, dopamine, which will allow you to do more action. And then also, every time I say dopamine, you want to think of it as motivation juice. It could even be the same word. So dopamine, motivation, it's just the juice that lets you be motivated. So the order is going to be action, dopamine, or motivation, right? Same word, which will lead to more action. And motivation it's a loop. You just start manually, right? It's just, you just got to start. So you don't feel motivated, but you just got to take an action to start it, and then you'll have this nice flywheel effect. Okay, and also you want to forget inspiration. You want to forget like feeling inspired and doing all that, right? So maybe this live stream might motivate you to do something, or you might watch a YouTube video and you might get inspired. But it's more it's better in the long term if you end up just take first action and then you will feel motivated to do something. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna leave it there. Does anyone have any questions while we are streaming, while we're on the live stream? Does anyone have any burning questions they would love to ask? Anyone at all? Otherwise, I will move on to the next slide. Anyone? I'll give it 5 seconds. I'll give it 5 seconds if anyone would like to answer any questions, have any questions answered at the moment. Otherwise, I will move on. Duckgo says, hello. Hello to you, sir. Hello to you. I hope you are getting some value from this presentation on motivation and how it works and things like that. The accompanying slides are on YouTube Live if you are interested in all that. Yeah, it is on my on link in bio, so go find it. You'll be able to see the slides accompanying this. But yeah, I appreciate the likes, also. Thank you so much. Okay, cool. I will move on if no one has any questions. If no one has any questions on YouTube, any questions on TikTok? No. Okay, cool. So let's move on. Let's move on. Okay, cool. So we're going to talk about the dopamine loop. So remember, every time I say dopamine, it actually just means motivation. I like to think of it as motivation juice. So step 1, take a small action, right? So then the brain will release some dopamine, and then your brain feels motivated. And then because it feels motivated, because it did some small action, you'll take some bigger action, and then you get more dopamine, right? And then it compounds and compounds and compounds and compounds until you essentially have the result. Now, notice that I said that step 1 is take small action. Then you'll get the dopamine. Remember in the first few slides, I was like, okay, take small action, then you get the dopamine. It's never going to be that you're going to be motivated, then you will take action. You first need to take the action and then get motivated. So, okay, whoever is watching at the moment, let me know. Tell me something that is hard, a big task you could do, right? And then what small action you could take, and then it sort of flywheels into the whole take more action, get more dopamine, take more action, get more dopamine. So for me, doing these, I'm a coder. I like streaming and making videos is not something I particularly enjoy doing. So the first action I took was probably just going over the slides that I'm going to do, like going over the slides. And then when I go over the slides, I feel more confident to give the presentation about all this stuff. So I'm going to open it up to everyone on the live stream. What is something you guys, a big task that you find difficult? I appreciate the likes. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. But what is a task you find difficult, and what is a single small action you could take to get that task done? I will check around. Yeah, let me know. Let me know. I'll give it 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, anyone? 2, 1. Okay, no problem. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to the next slide. So, start the loop manually. That's important. So, do you remember the first step? Oh, that's okay. No need to say sorry. That's all good. So, what was the first step? What's the first step I always say to do? What's the first step? It is, so the first step is always take the small action, then you'll feel motivated. So that'll start the flywheel. So that's all I just want to reiterate that, actually. All I'm doing here is reiterating that to start the loop of doing stuff, to be motivated, you need to take initial action. It's not that you initially get the motivation. You first take the initial action, and then you will get motivated. That's the gist of that. That is the gist of that. Okay, so forget inspiration. Stop waiting for inspiration, right? Waiting for inspiration means you are going to be waiting forever, and professionals don't wait, right? You think of a doctor. Okay, I want you to think of a doctor, right? So does a doctor is like a professional. Are they ever waiting for like inspiration to do whatever they need to do in their field? So maybe they need to do some surgery. Are they like, oh, I'm not feeling it today. I'm not feeling too motivated to do the surgery. I'm just going to wait until I feel like inspired to do the surgery. No, that is absolutely not how a professional would take it. That you just don't do that when you're a professional, right? That it's just not how any of that works at all. So the way you do it is you take action. So the professional would be like, regardless of how I feel, regardless of what I'm doing, it doesn't matter. Regardless of what I'm doing, I am just going to do the action. And it doesn't matter if I'm motivated or not. I'm just going to take the first small step. And then when I start getting into the process, I will feel motivated to do something. And then once I'm feeling motivated, I'll do more action. And then essentially, once you've done even more action, you'll get even more dopamine and you get more motivation. And then you want to do even more because you're even more like motivated. And then once you're even more motivated, you'll get more action going, and then you'll eventually get the result or the goal you wanted to attain. Okay, so moving on to the next slide. Cool. So for everyone on TikTok, I am actually streaming this on YouTube Live as well, and that is where the slides are. So I'm actually giving like a presentation of some slides. The link is in the bio, so go to the YouTube, find the slides, and follow along for the presentation. Okay, so the 5-minute rule. If you're too overwhelmed to start, or you just like kind of stuck and you hit a brick wall, what I suggest you do is just commit to 5 minutes. So just say to yourself, okay, cool. I just want to get started, but I'm getting way too distracted by social media or whatever. I'm just going to commit to doing it. I'm just going to commit 5 minutes. It's going to be 5 minutes of suffering, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I would call that the 5-minute rule. Just get it done. Just do it. Doesn't matter what happens. Just do it. And so why it works is because, you get into it. It'll sort of lower the resistance because I'm just saying 5 minutes. That's it. I'm not saying do the whole thing. I'm just saying 5 minutes. And then it'll build momentum. So it'll build momentum of 5 minutes, and it's actually quite easy. And then oftentimes this will actually, in reality, lead to you actually just studying or working or something like that for the whole session, right? And honestly, seriously, 90% is just starting. 90% is just starting. And once you've gotten started, you have momentum, you get dopamine, you do more action. Yeah, so it's just starting. That's essentially what that is. Okay, so here's the exercise. Are you ready? Actually, before the exercise, does anyone have any questions on any motivation or how it works or things like that? Is anyone feeling motivated at the moment? Or because I don't know if that's such a good thing, right? It doesn't matter about if you're feeling motivated. It more matters that you have a task and you need to take small actions first, right? Okay. Anyway, let's get back to the slides and let's pick our little exercise here. So your 5-minute challenge. Pick the hardest task. Pick the hardest task on your schedule first, and then set a timer for 5 minutes, and then just do it. Start working on it. After 5 minutes, you will usually feel more motivated. So if you don't feel, so if yes, you're feeling motivated, continue the action. But if you stop, if you are not feeling motivated, just give up. It's fine. But more often than not, I'll give you the cheat code. You actually will be motivated to do the task, right? So that's the exercise. Okay, in the chat, write down what the hard task you are going to encounter. What task are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I'll give it 5 seconds for anyone at all. Give me some. So what's something hard you can do using what we've talked about in the previous part of the presentation? Just write whatever you feel is necessary. Give it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, cool. Let's put it. And the final slides. So I always give away the anchor. The anchor is a very important. So what the anchor is just a phrase. This is a phrase I say, something that'll ground you in the lesson, right? So the anchor is going to be start small, start tiny, finish huge, right? Start tiny, finish huge. So what that really means is you start with small action. And then this will compound with the motivation and dopamine. So you start with the small action, you receive a bit of dopamine for doing the small action, then you'll do more action. And then because you've done the action, you'll get even more dopamine. And then you'll take even more action. And then you'll get more dopamine. And so it'll just be this snowball, this flywheel, right? And then eventually you'll finish whatever task you're meant to be doing, and you'll get the end result, which is whatever you wanted, right? Okay. Cool. And that is it. I think I'm going to end the presentation there for YouTube. I will stay on